Nestled between Gimhae and Busan, Bukjeongri is a rural village rarely found on tourist maps. Here, the Nakdong River shapes a landscape of rice paddies, bamboo groves, and ancient pine trees. Quiet, enduring, and deeply rooted in tradition. The village's charm lies in its subtlety. Green fields reflecting summer skies, elders tending crops by hand, and a geography marked by gentle hills and ancient burial mounds. Agriculture is the heartbeat. Rice, soybeans, peppers, and more recently, vibrant fields of sunflowers and lilies. Much of the work is still done by hand, a testament to the community's resilience and connection to the land. In Bukjeongri, the rhythms of rural life continue, quietly persistent and foundational to Korea's story. Each July, Bukjeongri transforms as sunflowers bloom for the Golden Petal Festival, a tradition started by Mrs. Park Soon-young. What began in 1984 as a simple act of planting sunflowers became a symbol of hope and resilience for the village. The festival draws families and visitors to fields ablaze with gold, celebrating not just flowers, but community and shared joy. Mrs. Park's vision turned a personal ritual into a beloved annual event, uniting generations in a celebration of light. The festival is a living legacy, sunflowers as a reminder of strength, and the village's story told in petals and laughter. Each year, the fields bloom anew, and Bukjeongri shines as a beacon of hope. The Golden Petal Festival is more than an event, it's the heart of the village's identity. In Bukjeongri, daily life begins with the crow of a rooster and the aroma of barley porridge. The village thrives on close-knit bonds. Neighbors share tools, stories, and harvests, gathering at the local store or community center. Elders play jangi. Children return from school with laughter echoing through the fields, and everyone contributes to the cooperative farming system. The rhythm is communal. Irrigation schedules, shared drying yards, and mutual support. While modern Korea races ahead, Bukjeongri preserves the spirit of interdependence and tradition. The younger generation bridges old and new, carrying the village's legacy forward. Here, community is not just a word, it's a way of life, woven into every day. Bukjeongri's history is etched in its soil and stories, tracing back to the Gaea Confederacy. Ancient burial mounds and scars from the Japanese occupation remind villagers of resilience and survival. The village adapted through war, rebuilding with a blend of hanok and modern homes. The Busan Gimhae light rail now cuts through rice fields, symbolizing the tension and harmony between past and present. Some see progress, others mourn the change, but most find balance. Children play beneath the monorail's shadow, their laughter mingling with the echoes of history. In Bukjeongri, the past and future coexist, shaping a unique, enduring identity. Spirituality in Bukjeongri is quiet and deeply rooted. Shamanic shrines, guardian trees, and ancestor rituals shape daily life. Families honor their ancestors with offerings and care for ancient burial mounds, reinforcing bonds across generations. The village soundscape is peaceful. Birds at dawn, cicadas in summer, and the occasional hum of the monorail. Night brings darkness and stars, a rare sight in modern Korea, and the air fills with the scent of evening meals. Sometimes, an old folk song drifts from a window, a lullaby for a village connected to its roots. Here, belief is lived, not proclaimed, woven into the land and the lives of its people. Bukjeongri's spirit endures in its rituals, its silence, and its unwavering sense of place. The Golden Petal Festival was not born from a committee or a government initiative. It sprang from the heart and hands of a single, remarkable woman, Mrs. Park Soon-young. Its origins trace back to a quiet summer in 1984, a period of calm nestled between the turbulent recovery from war and the impending economic storms that would later shake the nation. Mrs. Park, a figure of quiet strength and considerable wealth in the village, was a widow whose truest passion was her garden. With a profound connection to the earth, she decided one year to do something different. Along the vast borders of her family's farmland, she chose to plant not another cash crop, but rows upon rows of sunflowers. A flower she felt embodied a deep and necessary truth. For Mrs. Park, the sunflower was more than just a beautiful plant. It was a powerful symbol of resilience and unwavering optimism. She would often tell the village children who gathered around her that sunflowers possess a special kind of wisdom. They always turn to face the light, she would explain, her voice gentle but firm. Even on the cloudiest days, when the sun is hidden from view, they believe it is still there and they wait for its return. We should learn to be like that. This simple philosophy was the seed from which the entire festival would eventually grow. That first summer, her quiet act of planting became a small spectacle, drawing the village children who, inspired by her purpose, eagerly helped her scatter the seeds into the soil. The following July, the result of their shared labor was nothing short of breathtaking. The edges of Mrs. Park's fields, once plain and unremarkable, had erupted into a vibrant, living wall of gold. The sunflowers stood tall and proud, their heavy heads following the slow arc of the sun across the sky. The sight was so striking that it began to alter the daily rhythms of the village. Locals would pause during their walks, their conversations hushed in admiration of the brilliant display. Some began to bring their families, taking photographs amidst the sea of yellow petals. The flowers had transformed a simple field border into an accidental landmark, a place of unexpected beauty and quiet contemplation for the entire community. The pivotal moment came one warm afternoon when a neighbor, emboldened by the joyful atmosphere the flowers had created, hesitantly approached Mrs. Park. She asked for permission to hold her young daughter's first birthday picnic in the shade of the giant blooms. Mrs. Park readily agreed. That day, a small group gathered, grilling sweet potatoes over a small fire, singing old familiar folk songs, and filling the air with a kind of simple, unburdened laughter that seemed to last until the sun dipped below the horizon. Watching this scene unfold from a distance, Mrs. Park felt a profound sense of rightness. This, she decided, was something that needed to be shared, something that should happen every single year. The seed of an idea had finally taken root. What began as a single birthday picnic quickly blossomed into a cherished annual event. In the years that followed that first impromptu gathering, Mrs. Park actively nurtured the celebration, giving it a name that captured its essence, the Golden Petal Festival. She envisioned it not as a commercial enterprise, but as a communal inheritance, a time for the people of Bukjongri to come together and celebrate the simple, profound gifts of the land and of each other. The festival's growth was organic, expanding slowly year by year as word of mouth spread. It never sought national attention or corporate sponsors. Its fame was built on the authentic experiences of those who attended, who left feeling touched by its genuine warmth and simplicity. The physical layout of the festival remained centered on Mrs. Park's family land, but it evolved to accommodate the growing number of visitors. Simple stone paths were laid to guide people through the towering sunflower fields without disturbing the plants. Benches made from stacked hay bales appeared in shady spots, offering places for rest and conversation. Designated picnic stations were set up, encouraging families to bring their own food and share meals together. At the very heart of the fields, a raised wooden pavilion was constructed. Known as the Sun Halo Stage, it was designed in a perfect circle, intentionally mimicking the radiant face of a sunflower and serving as the focal point for performances and community gatherings throughout the day. The opening ceremony became a cornerstone of the tradition, a ritual that marked the official start of the festivities. At precisely 10 a.m. on the third Saturday of July, the festival would commence with a ceremonial sunflower planting. This honor was always given to the youngest children of the village, a symbolic act of passing the tradition down to the next generation. For many years, Mrs. Park herself, even as she approached her 70s, would lead the opening remarks. She would stand on the Sun Halo stage and share stories of the village's history, of her own childhood, and of the enduring spiritual meaning of the sunflowers, reminding everyone to always seek the light. This dedication to community spirit meant that local involvement was not just encouraged, it was essential. Everyone in Bukjongri had a role to play, a contribution to make. The village's grandmothers, the beloved Halmionis and Ajumas, would take charge of the food, their hands expertly preparing traditional dishes in a large open-air kitchen. The middle-aged men would handle the logistics, setting up the tents, stages, and sound equipment. Teenagers would volunteer as photographers or help manage recycling stations, while the younger children would act as enthusiastic flower guides, proudly leading visitors along the winding paths. This collective effort transformed the festival from a simple event into a living expression of the village's cooperative soul. At its core, the Golden Petal Festival was always more than just a celebration of a flower. It was really a celebration of the spirit that the sunflower embodied. For the people of Bukjongri, the festival became, year after year, an affirmation of their community's resilience. The sunflower, with its ability to grow tall and strong even in difficult soil, and its natural instinct to turn toward the sun, was, a perfect metaphor for the village itself. It represented their shared history of enduring hardship, from occupation to war to economic uncertainty, and emerging not just intact, but with this quiet strength and an unwavering hope for the future. The festival was a yearly reminder that, like the sunflowers, they too could find and create light even in the face of darkness. This theme of light and hope was, honestly, woven into every aspect of the festival, creating a deeply spiritual, though not explicitly religious atmosphere. In Korean tradition, sunflowers symbolize adoration, loyalty, and longevity, qualities that the festival sought to cultivate within the community. One of the most poignant rituals was the Sun Prayer Walk, held at dawn on the final day. Participants would walk in silence through the rows of dew-kissed sunflowers, each person holding a single white ribbon. At the end of the path, they'd tie their ribbon to the branches of an ancient Zelkova tree, a tree believed to be the guardian of the village. Each ribbon represented a silent prayer, a wish, or a feeling of gratitude, creating a powerful visual tapestry of collective hope. Unity was another foundational pillar of the festival's spirit. In a rapidly modernizing Korea, where urbanization often led to the erosion of traditional community bonds, the festival served as a vital countercurrent. It was a time when generational divides seemed to melt away. Elders shared their wisdom through storytelling, their voices carrying ghost stories and historical tales into the evening air. Young musicians performed alongside seasoned folk artists on the Sun Halo stage. Families from the city connected with the farmers who grew their food. The act of sharing food, sharing stories, sharing labor, sharing joy, was the invisible thread that stitched the entire event together, strengthening the social fabric of Bukjeongri and reminding everyone of their profound interdependence. Ultimately, the spirit of the Golden Petal Festival was a quiet but powerful act of defiance against the cynicism and commercialism of the modern world. It insisted on the value of the handmade, the local, and the authentic. It celebrated the joy found not in grand spectacles, but in the simple act of watching a sunflower turn its face to the sky. It was a testament to Mrs. Park's enduring belief that beauty and hope could be deliberately planted, carefully nurtured, and generously shared. For 3 days every July, Bukjeongri didn't just host a festival. It became a living, breathing sanctuary of light, a place where the soul of a community was put on full, radiant display for all to see. To visit the Golden Petal Festival is to really understand that the food is not just sustenance, it's actually half of the entire experience, a direct and delicious connection to the land and its people. The air itself is thick with tantalizing aromas that drift from the festival's heart, an open-air kitchen set up near the village community hall. Here the grandmothers of Bukjeongri, the revered Halmionis and Ajumas, work in this harmonious collaboration. Their hands, wrinkled with time and wisdom, move with a practiced grace as they transform simple, local ingredients into culinary treasures. Laughter and lively chatter mix with the sizzle of oil and the rhythmic chop of vegetables, creating a kind of symphony of community and cuisine that welcomes every visitor. The signature dishes served at the festival are a testament to the region's agricultural heritage, each one telling a story of the soil and the seasons. One of the most beloved treats is the gochujang glazed sweet potatoes, which are grilled slowly over fragrant oak wood until their skins are crisp and their insides are impossibly soft and sweet. Another staple is the fresh barley tea, steeped for a full 12 hours in large, traditional stone pots, resulting in a nutty, deeply refreshing drink that cuts through the summer heat. Small, savory sunflower seed rice balls, lightly rolled in toasted sesame oil, offer a perfect bite-sized snack for wandering through the fields. These are not complicated recipes, but simple, honest flavors born from generations of tradition. The culinary creativity of Bukjeongri extends beyond the traditional staples, with each stall offering its own unique delight. The bindaeteok, or mung bean pancakes, are a particular favorite. Fried to a golden crisp and studded with wild greens foraged from the nearby hills, their earthy taste a perfect complement to the savory batter. For those seeking relief from the July sun, a bowl of cold perilla noodle soup offers a light and invigorating meal. Its clean, herbaceous broth a balm for the senses. Children, their faces sticky with joy, clamor for scoops of sweet corn ice cream or bite into sunflower-shaped cookies, their laughter adding another layer to the festival's vibrant soundscape. Even the drinks are a celebration of local ingenuity. One popular booth, run by Mrs. Park's own niece, specializes in crafting unique herbal sodas. Using ingredients like shiso, with its complex, mint-like flavor, and vibrant omija berries, known for their 5 distinct tastes. She creates fizzy concoctions that are both surprising and delightful. She even infuses some with delicate sunflower petals, adding a floral note that perfectly captures the spirit of the day. Every sip and every bite at the Golden Petal Festival is an invitation to slow down, to savor the moment, and to taste the authentic, generous heart of Bukjeong-ri. The cultural heartbeat of the Golden Petal Festival is, honestly, deeply rooted in the handmade and the grassroots, a celebration of creativity that is as authentic as the soil itself. Inside the circular Sun Halo Pavilion, visitors can find a lovingly curated exhibition of local crafts. Here, the quiet, patient artistry of the villagers is on full display. There are delicate pressed flower frames capturing the fleeting beauty of the season. Calligraphy scrolls hang with bold black brushstrokes that form ancient proverbs or lines of poetry. Intricately embroidered tablecloths and small, whimsical clay figurines depicting scenes of rural life fill the tables. A large poetry board stands in one corner, inviting visitors to become part of the art, to leave behind an anonymous haiku inspired by the golden flowers swaying outside. The festival is also alive with the sounds of traditional music, which drifts through the sunflower fields from the central stage. Following the opening ceremony, local musicians from the Bukjeong-ri folk ensemble take their places, filling the air with the powerful, rhythmic beat of the jangu drum and the haunting, ethereal melody of the daegeum bamboo flute. Their voices rise in traditional harvest songs, melodies that have been sung in these fields for generations. Later in the day, a group of middle school dancers might perform the Sunlight Dance, a beautiful and graceful performance that blends the elegance of the traditional fan dance with more modern, interpretive movements, their colorful costumes swirling like petals in the breeze. Beyond the stage and the pavilion, the festival hums with the simple joy of play. The village elders, their eyes twinkling with mischief, run games for the children that harken back to a simpler time. There are spirited arm wrestling matches where small, determined fists clasp in friendly competition. Foot races send children sprinting down dusty paths, their shrieks of laughter echoing through the tall stalks. The legendary water bucket dash, a chaotic and hilarious relay race, always ends with participants soaked and smiling. These games require no fancy equipment or technology, just a willingness to participate and a spirit of fun, strengthening the bonds between generations through shared laughter. Every year, the festival also honors a tradition of inviting a guest artist from the nearby cities of Busan or Gimhae to create a live piece of art over the course of the weekend. This adds a fresh contemporary layer to the event, bridging the rural and urban art worlds. One year, it was a painter who created a giant mosaic using thousands of dried sunflower petals of varying shades. Another year, a poet set up a small desk and typewriter, composing 50 short, personalized verses over the 3 days, one for each visitor who stopped to share a story with him. This collaborative spirit ensures that the festival remains a living, evolving canvas of cultural expression. As the afternoon sun begins its slow descent, a magical transformation occurs across the sunflower fields. The brilliant, almost blinding gold of midday softens into a rich, warm amber, which then deepens into a burnished bronze as shadows lengthen. This is the golden hour, a time of quiet beauty and anticipation. As twilight settles, strings of delicate paper lanterns, each painted with a simple flower or a hopeful character, are lit along the winding golden loop path. Their soft, warm glow creates an enchanting, dreamlike atmosphere, guiding visitors through the darkening fields. People begin to gather in the central clearing, their faces turned toward the Sun Halo stage for the much-anticipated sunset performance. The evening's entertainment is a gentle, soulful affair, designed to soothe the spirit as day gives way to night. A lineup of performers takes the stage, their music a perfect accompaniment to the fading light. The plaintive, voice-like sound of a Hegium duet might fill the air, followed by the powerful, emotive storytelling of a pansori singer, their voice weaving tales of love and loss. Later, a solo artist with an acoustic guitar might sing soft, melodic ballads that seem to float over the crowd. One of the most beloved segments is the memory song, an interactive performance where attendees are invited to write down a memory from the past year. These anonymous notes are then collected, and local singers improvise beautiful, spontaneous melodies based on the stories they read. After the last notes of music have faded into the night, a large, simple linen sheet is unfurled, transforming into a makeshift cinema screen. A short film is projected for the quiet crowd, a moving montage that captures the essence of the festival and the village. It often features beautiful, sun-drenched clips from past festivals, intimate portraits of village life, and treasured archival photographs of a young Mrs. Park during her very first plantings. This visual tribute serves as a poignant reminder of the festival's deep roots and the continuity of its spirit, connecting the present moment to the legacy of the past and the promise of the future. The night culminates in the serene and beautiful floating lantern ceremony. Depending on the year's rainfall and the river's condition, guests are given small, biodegradable lanterns to release either into the sky or onto the gentle current of the nearby Nakdong River. Before letting them go, each person writes a message on their lantern: a wish for the future, a word of thanks, or the name of a loved one they hold in their heart. The sight of hundreds of points of light drifting silently into the darkness, carrying the collective hopes and dreams of the community, is a profoundly moving spectacle. It is a quiet, powerful end to a day steeped in the simple, radiant magic of Bukjong-ri. The idyllic rhythm of the Golden Petal Festival, with its gentle music and the warm scent of grilled sweet potatoes, was shattered in an instant. The break came not from a sudden storm or a technical failure, but from the high-pitched, terrified screams of children. A small group of them, having tired of the organized games, had ventured further into the vast fields, their game of hide-and-seek leading them toward the cool, deep shade cast by one of the massive concrete monorail pylons. It was a place where the golden cheer of the sunflowers felt muted, a pocket of stillness at the very edge of the celebration. Their laughter echoed for a moment, a bright, fleeting sound against the hum of the world, before it was choked off by a horrifying discovery. It was 10-year-old Ji-hoon, the boldest of the group, who found her. While darting between the thick stalks, his foot caught on something soft but unyielding, sending him tumbling into the dry, loose earth. Annoyed at first, he pushed himself up, ready to blame a hidden root or a misplaced bag. But what he saw was not a root. It was a bundle of floral patterned fabric, strangely still, lying in the dappled shadow of the pylon. As the other children gathered around, their playful curiosity slowly curdling into a shared sense of unease, Ji-hoon reached out a hesitant hand. He brushed against something cold, stiff, and unmistakably human. A pale hand, its fingers curled around a small yellowed card. The realization dawned on them all at once, a silent, chilling wave of understanding that stole the air from their lungs. The children, who moments before had been symbols of the festival's joyful continuity, now became heralds of its abrupt and tragic end. Their screams tore through the peaceful atmosphere, a sound so raw and primal that it stopped conversations mid-sentence and made musicians lower their instruments. Word of their discovery spread through the festival grounds like a brush fire, moving from person to person in hushed, anxious whispers. The vibrant, joyful energy that had filled the fields just moments before evaporated, replaced by a heavy collective pall of shock and disbelief. The golden sunflowers, once symbols of light and hope, now seemed to stand as silent, unblinking witnesses to a dark and terrible secret that had been hidden beneath their radiant faces. The body was that of an elderly woman, her silver-streaked hair tangled with fallen leaves and bits of soil. Her face, half hidden in the shadows, held an expression of strange and unsettling peace. In her hand, she clutched the card the children had seen, a verse printed in neat, simple script. "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." The words, from the Gospel of Luke, hung in the air with a chilling ambiguity. Was it a plea for mercy? A final statement of forgiveness? Or a quiet, damning accusation? The discovery of the body did more than just end the festival. It fractured the carefully constructed image of Bukjong-ri as a simple, harmonious village, revealing the dark, complex shadows that lay just beneath the sunlit gold. The call reached Chief Inspector Kang Il-ruk just as the afternoon sun began its descent, casting long, dramatic shadows across the landscape. He guided his dark grey sedan down the dusty dirt road, the car's modern sleekness a stark contrast to the rustic setting. A fine cloud of dust kicked up by his tires billowed behind him, settling like a shroud over the nearby sunflowers. Kang stepped out of the car, a tall, lean figure whose impeccably tailored jacket and quiet, deliberate movements spoke of a life far removed from this rural world. He carried with him the quiet, coiled intensity of a man trained in the art of observation and violence, a past life as a Secret Service agent still faintly visible in his piercing, analytical gaze. He was a man of two worlds. One was a world of bonsai trees, a loving wife, and the predictable routines of family life. The other was a world of shadows, a past spent in the clandestine corners of global conflict, a place where he had learned that every detail, no matter how small, could be a piece of a much larger, more dangerous puzzle. As he stood at the edge of the field, the air carried the scent of rich earth, blooming flowers, and something else, a faint metallic undercurrent that his finely honed senses registered immediately. "Keep your eyes open," he said quietly to his young, eager partner, Detective Kim Julie, who had just joined him. "This isn't just a body, it's a message." Kang approached the scene with a methodical calm that stood in stark contrast to the agitated murmurs of the remaining festival-goers. Under a hastily erected blue tarp, the body of the woman lay untouched. He knelt beside her, his gaze sweeping over every detail. The victim was quickly identified by a distraught relative as Park Soon-young, the founder of the very festival now stained by her death, the matriarch of Bukjong-ri. Kang noted her rough, calloused hands, the hands of a gardener, yet they held the Bible verse card with a strange, delicate finality. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, no visible trauma, no blood. It was a death that was unnervingly clean, almost staged, which made it all the more suspicious. His investigation began with the ground itself. He scanned the soft dirt around the body, noting the chaotic, overlapping footprints of the children who had made the discovery. But beyond that, the earth was surprisingly undisturbed. There were no signs of a desperate fight or of the body being dragged. It was as if she had been placed there gently, deliberately. He stood, brushing the dust from his trousers, his mind already working, piecing together the initial fragments of the mystery. He looked from the peaceful face of the dead woman to the towering, impersonal monorail pylon above. This was a place of contradictions, of life and death, tradition and modernity, light and shadow. And he knew the truth of what happened here would be found somewhere in the space between them. As the police began their formal investigation, a different kind of inquiry was already underway among the villagers of Bukjong-ri. The official police tape created a physical boundary, but it could not contain the shockwaves of gossip, speculation, and long-buried memories that rippled through the community. The initial, unified grief quickly began to fracture, revealing the complex and often contradictory feelings the villagers held for Mrs. Park. In small, hushed clusters, neighbors who had shared food and laughter just hours before now shared theories in hushed, urgent tones. The festival grounds, once a stage for unity, had transformed into a breeding ground for suspicion, where every glance held a potential accusation, and every whisper carried the weight of a secret. The image of Mrs. Park as the benevolent, visionary matriarch began to crumble, replaced by a more complicated and controversial portrait. While many remembered her as a pillar of the community, a generous philanthropist who funded the local church and handed out Bibles with a warm smile, others recalled a different side of her. They spoke of a woman who was intensely devout to the point of being overbearing, whose acts of charity often came with unspoken strings attached. Some muttered about her sharp tongue and her unforgiving nature, recounting stories of public rebukes and long-held grudges over minor disputes. This division was starkly illustrated by the conflicting stories that began to emerge. A woman who ran a stall selling honey tearfully recalled how Mrs. Park had paid for her son's university tuition, asking for nothing in return. Yet, just a few feet away, an old farmer grumbled to his friend about a bitter, decade-long feud with Mrs. Park over a fence line that had cost him a significant portion of his most fertile land. He spoke of her as a woman who used her wealth and influence like a weapon, a dragon, as he called her, who guarded her treasure and her territory with a fiery and unyielding possessiveness. The discovery of her body had not just unveiled a crime, it had unearthed the deep, hidden fault lines that ran through the heart of the village. The Bible verse found in her hand became a focal point for these diverging interpretations. To her supporters, it was proof of her saintly, forgiving nature, a final act of grace toward a fallen world. But to her detractors, the message felt like a final, passive-aggressive jab, a subtle condemnation of those she believed had wronged her. The ambiguity of the words allowed everyone to project their own feelings and experiences onto her death. The mystery was no longer just about finding a killer. It had become a battle over Mrs. Park's very legacy, a struggle to define who she truly was, a benevolent saint or a powerful tyrant? While the village buzzed with rumors, Inspector Kang focused his attention on the tangible, the physical evidence that could not lie or be swayed by emotion. He walked the sunflower fields alone as dusk settled, the last of the festival lights casting a ghostly glow on the golden petals. He ignored the ringing of his phone, choosing instead the silence of observation. He thought of his brilliant, eccentric partner, Inspector Income, who was halfway across the world, and felt a familiar pang of professional solitude. Kang knew this case would require a different kind of thinking, one that looked beyond the obvious and listened to the silent stories told by the land itself. He returned to the base of the pylon, the epicenter of the mystery. He knelt again in the dirt, his long fingers gently sifting through the soil near where the body had lain. The children's footprints were a chaotic mess, but his trained eye was searching for something else, something deeper. And then he found it. A set of faint indentations, almost invisible to the naked eye, but far too deep and evenly spaced to have been made by a child. They were the marks of someone carrying a heavy weight, someone strong and sure-footed, who knew this terrain intimately. This was no random act of violence. Mrs. Park had been carried to this spot. The scene was not just a place of death, but a destination, a final, deliberate placement. His search continued, his gaze sweeping the ground in a slow, meticulous grid. Just beneath the edge of a large, dry sunflower leaf, a small object glinted in the fading light. He carefully brushed the soil away to reveal a single button. It was plain, black, and made of a hard, functional plastic. A simple, military-style button, the kind found on a uniform or a piece of tactical gear. It was utterly out of place amidst the floral patterns and soft fabrics of the festival. Kang carefully picked it up with a pair of tweezers and sealed it in an evidence bag. It was the first solid piece of evidence, a tiny concrete thread that connected this pastoral crime scene to a world of discipline, order, and potential conflict. As he stood up, the monorail roared past on the tracks high above, its lighted windows a fleeting streak of modernity against the darkening sky. The contrast struck him with renewed force. The old world of grudges, land, and faith, and the new world of concrete, steel, and speed, all converging on this single point. An old man's words from earlier echoed in his mind. She had a list. The victim was a woman of deep convictions and, it seemed, deep enmities. The Bible verse, the carefully placed body, and now this military button. They were all threads of a complex, interwoven story. A secret had been buried deep in the soil of Bukjong-ri, and with the death of Mrs. Park, it had finally, violently, begun to bloom. The murder of Mrs. Park did not mark the end of the Golden Petal Festival, nor did it silence the spirit of Bukjong-ri. In the years that followed, the festival continued, but it was irrevocably changed. The shadow of the mystery lingered, adding a new, more somber layer to the annual celebration of light. The path leading to the monorail pylon where her body was found became an unofficial place of pilgrimage. Visitors and locals alike would pause there, leaving a single sunflower or a quiet prayer. The tragedy had woven itself into the fabric of the festival's story, transforming it from a simple celebration of joy into a more profound meditation on life, loss, and the complex nature of memory. The Golden Fields became a space that held both beauty and sorrow, a testament to the village's capacity to endure. The sunflowers themselves seemed to take on a deeper meaning. They were no longer just symbols of simple optimism, but of a more resilient and hard-won hope. They grew from soil that had witnessed a dark secret, yet they continued to turn their faces toward the sun each day, a quiet, powerful lesson in persistence. The festival rituals evolved to reflect this new reality. The evening memory song performance now included tributes to Mrs. Park, with singers improvising melodies based on stories of forgiveness and reconciliation. The festival became a space for the community to process its collective grief, to grapple with the difficult truth that light cannot exist without shadow, and that even the most idyllic places have their hidden histories of pain. Inspector Kang's investigation eventually unearthed a story of old wounds, of a family secret rooted in the wartime past, and of a desperate act of perceived justice. The black button led him down a path of forgotten history, connecting Mrs. Park's rigid piety to a long-held grievance against a family she felt had betrayed her own. The resolution of the crime did not bring simple closure, but rather a more complex understanding of the human heart and the way history's ghosts continue to walk among the living. It revealed that Mrs. Park was neither a perfect saint nor a simple tyrant, but a woman shaped by the immense pressures of her time, her faith a shield against a world that had once taken everything from her. The truth was a tangled root system, just like the history of the village itself. Ultimately, the story of Bukjongri teaches us that a place is not defined by a single event, no matter how tragic. The village continues its daily rhythms. The elderly still gather to play jangi, the children still chase frogs in the irrigation ditches, and the monorail still hums overhead, a constant reminder of the world moving forward. The Golden Petal Festival endures, not in spite of its tragic chapter, but because of it. It has become a richer, more honest reflection of life itself, a tapestry woven with threads of brilliant gold and somber black. It reminds us that communities like sunflowers must be strong enough to hold both the light of the sun and the darkness of the earth from which they grow. The legacy of the Golden Petal Festival and of Bukjongri itself is a living story that continues to be written season after season. It is a narrative that resists easy summary, reminding us that the soul of a place is found in its complexities and contradictions. The sunflowers, planted year after year, serve as a recurring promise of renewal. They teach a quiet but profound lesson about heritage, that it is not a static monument to be admired from a distance, but a dynamic, growing thing that must be tended, nurtured, and sometimes reconciled with difficult truths. The festival matters not because it offers a perfect, idealized escape, but because it provides a space for authentic human connection in all its messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful glory. The secrets unearthed by Inspector Kang did not destroy the village. They deepened its character. They forced the people of Bukjongri to look at their own history and at each other with a more compassionate and understanding gaze. The mystery became a part of the local lore, a cautionary tale told alongside ghost stories and historical accounts, a reminder that forgiveness is a difficult and complicated process, and that every person carries unseen burdens. The story of Mrs. Park's life and death serves as a powerful testament to the fact that memory is not a single objective truth, but a collection of individual perspectives, each one valid, each one part of a larger, more intricate whole. The village learned that to truly honor the past, one must be willing to embrace all of it. This small village, nestled between a historic city and a modern metropolis, offers a powerful lens through which to view the soul of a changing career. Bukjongri is a microcosm of the nation's journey, a constant negotiation between the old ways and the new, between the pull of tradition and the relentless march of progress. The concrete pylons and the ancient burial mounds, the quiet rituals and the shocking crime, all coexist within the same landscape. The story of the festival shows us that these forces are not necessarily in opposition. Rather, they are interwoven, creating a rich, textured, and uniquely Korean identity that is resilient enough to hold both its agricultural roots and its high-tech future. In the end, what endures is the land itself and the community's unwavering connection to it. As long as seeds are planted in the fertile soil of the Nakdong River Basin, there will be a harvest. As long as people gather to share food, music, and memories, there will be a festival. The sunflowers will continue to rise, their golden heads turning toward the sky, a silent, enduring promise of light. The story of Bukjongri, with its secrets and its beauty, is a testament to the enduring power of hope, a reminder that even after the darkest of nights, the sun will always return, and there is profound grace in the simple act of turning to face it.